10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Competition Plus Power Hour, and over there is Slammin' Sam, co-host of the
What's
show.
up, man?
And I am Lee Craft,
This
the
is
Monday
like
Morning Racer.
Lee. It's like the first time you and I have like both popped on screen, like for the intro. You know,
It's
like
a
one of
rare occasion. I think it might
yeah.
have happened like one other time.
I'm gonna say two. If
Okay,
anybody out
two.
there's been if anyone out there's been a day one OG of the Competition Plus Power Hour, and if you think it's been one or two, comment that below, like, share, tell your auntie, your uncle, your brother, your sister, your cousin, your mother, your dog, the cat, the frog that lives down the street, the parrot, and the trash man too. When he comes to pick up your trash because they're a day late, tell them that you were watching the Competition Plus Power Hour last night. Slam and Sam, the Monday Morning Racer, Lee Craft. We were yakking it up about drag racing, but man, I mean, busy week, Lee. This is a week where everything, if I didn't already pop, I'm trying these bubblers, trying to get away from all the caffeine of the Monster Energy, trying to come up hip with the times and drink bubbler. So bubbler, hey, if you want to be a part of the show, reach out to one of us. But yeah, man, this kicks off drag racing. Like it's a fish. It's time, Lee. It's time.
Well, we have had the U.S. Street Nationals where we've got lights out. We've got. I saw there is an event coming up. I think at Edgewater Motorsports Park. It's the Daily Driver Nationals. I'm like, I love this
Yes.
idea. And like the
Well,
promo is a Volkswagen Bug in a truck.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
this is
I
great.
mean, that goes back to what they did down in Virginia Motorsports Park. They had guys out there in a U-Haul a couple weeks ago doing that. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's cool at the beginning of the season. Let people drive their dailies if their race cars, are still, um, being refurbished or whatever you're doing during this off season. But I mean,
And
it's kind of
Sam,
cool.
it's a great way to introduce people to drag racing because they're like, just bring whatever you're driving, take it down the drag
Yeah,
strip, and then you're able to teach them like, hey, we have this thing called bracket racing. You can do that with the vehicle you brought like every weekend almost.
yeah.
Bring it
I
back.
mean, yeah. And doing that program, then they're like, man, if I buy this car is pretty cheap. Then they start turning something into a hot rod. That's how you get addicted to it.
That's
So
right.
there's
Because
that.
you always want
And
to go
then,
faster.
oh, you always do. Yeah, you just always want to go faster. Um, okay, I want to dive in to Lights Out really quick because Lights Out, I mean, if we look at the years of Lights Out, if we look at the trajectory of all these cars, they all seem to be going to the moon. I mean, I mean, it's not,
Yeah, they
I
certainly.
always
I believe I can fly.
it's the home of the flying car. So I mean, you
Yeah.
see these pictures, you see even in testing pictures and Carnage that I mean, guys are sending it to the moon.
It's
Do you
almost
think
becoming a
like
rite of passage. Like, have you flown your car yet?
see that's exactly what I was about to ask you. I'm like, is it a staple? Like, hey man, I've been officially off all four wheels, or is it one of those things like, hey man, you're a rookie now because you've only been on three wheels. Your one wheel is
Yeah.
still on the ground. And then is there another level? Like, and it's funny. You hear a lot of people now in drag racing, as the song says, there's levels to this blank, but like I'm wondering, excuse me, if there's levels to it. Is like, okay, you only got 2 inches of air. You didn't go the 5 foot in the air and
Oh,
ride the
I see what you're
wall.
saying.
you,
I see
you
what
know
you're
what I
saying.
mean?
Yeah.
You didn't ride the wall 16 feet. And then is there another class where it's like, man, I went on the wall and went to the other side, or I flew so high that I touched the scoreboard. I mean, I don't know, years ago if you saw the picture with Stevie Fast Jackson, and they had a part of his car, they shrunk his car and put it in the ET cart, and he's flying up. The car's nosed up. So I mean, like, do you think that there's award trophies, or guys are like, hey man, I'm in this club when it comes to lights out?
I will say, as long as they don't bother trying to do anything about it, apparently they need to just make it an award. They need to have wings. Like when your car goes up, that you get wings, and it's got like lights out and little wings.
Like you get a sticker. You get a sticker on your window. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
I like that.
yeah.
Like in the dirt track world, if you win a feature, you get a little sticker and they line them up on the top.
Yeah. If you fly your radio car, you get wings.
I like that. I mean, the lights out. Yeah, it should be like the scoreboard, literally, or it should be lights with all of them out, and then just wings on top. I mean, hey,
Yeah.
Donald Long. I mean, maybe we should get him on the show and have him talk about it. And be like, hey, man, what are you giving these guys and girls that are literally trying to live up to the hype?
If they're going to continue to have this phenomenon, not work on it, and keep cars on the ground, just embrace it. Start giving wings out and let it be a part of the game. Why not? Just do it. And look, and saying that, if they can figure out how to get a car down the Mulsanne straight, not to just take off, they can figure out how to keep a drag car on the ground. Somebody figure it out.
I mean, I think you should get extra 25 points on Southwest Airlines. And yeah. Okay, yes. Lee, you were in North Carolina. You're up there in that neck of the woods, so you got to experience Bobby getting his award and the whole expo show, right?
Right, yeah. The Shriners Drag Racing and Hot Rod Expo, great show. It's for charity. The Shriners Children's Hospital, they do a lot for children. Those proceeds, they go to the Children's Hospital. Todd, sorry to miss you. Ran into your brother. And it was a good show there at the Greensboro Coliseum. A lot was going on there. Wow, it wasn't just the car show and the drag cars on display. There was like a wrestling tournament, and I think basketball, and they're getting ready for the ACC tournament. A lot going on in Greensboro. Greensboro is a good town to host it, though. But Shriners put on a stellar show. A lot of great eye candy far as quality car show pieces. A lot of beautiful drag cars as well there at the show that you could see. I was disappointed, though. I know there's some funny car racers in North Carolina, and there wasn't a single funny car on the floor. I'm a little disappointed on that.
Lee, I'm glad you clarified exactly what you meant by eye candy after that.
Oh, yes. I understand. I understand. Yes.
I see what you did there, though.
Beautiful. The cars are beautiful.
Okay.
And look, what a cool induction ceremony. Shirley Muldowney, Todd Tutterow, Quayne Stott, and you've got Jay Turner going in. I mean, every one of those people deserve to be in a Hall of Fame. Much less, but honored greatly to be in the North Carolina Hall of Fame. But I mean, they deserve to be in many other motorsports Hall of Fames. And then, it was cool to see our very own Bobby Bennett receive the award, and basically like a lifetime recognition of work put in type of award. He's definitely deserving of that. And the North Carolina Drag Racing Hall of Fame kind of basically also covers South Carolina to some extent. And we always get mixed in Carolina, South Carolina, North Carolina. But look, great show.
It's the Carolina.
If anybody ever has the time, next year, the 21st year, it is worth attending. Also, by the way, like if you have a company, $200 for a booth, it goes to a great cause, and you're able to interact with a lot of racers and people in the car show industry and that have cars. It's worth your time. I'm considering next year getting a booth for Monday Morning Racer myself, and I don't know, stand out there and do a dog and pony show and try to get people to subscribe to the YouTube channel.
It may work.
May.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you can do. You got some time to think about that.
I do.
But so there was that, Lee. I mean, just a lot going on. A lot of announcements. Matt Smith coming out saying that he will be on a Suzuki this year
with factory support.
Yes. I mean, but let's break that down. How could Suzuki not jump on board with Matt. You know, and I mean, and that's nothing against the other racers that are there that are competing in that class, but at this point, how could you not? Like his track record, his resume speaks for himself. I mean,
It does.
you know, it's not like he's out there jaw jacking and doing this. Everything that he said when he's coming on different shows, he's backed it up. When he says he's coming for you, when he says they're testing, when he says this, it's proven on the track. And like I said, his resume speaks for himself and his performance week in and week out. He's hungry to continue. He's hungry for his wife, you know, to get involved and the people that he's helping. So I think Suzuki, you know, did themselves right by saying, "Hey, dude, we want to be a part of what you got going on, and you know, we think it's a good fit."
If you are a factory out there in the motorcycle world and you're looking to be associated with the team, yeah, why not pick Matt Smith Racing? The man, it's not just because he wins. He wins because of what? He works his rear end off. He is routinely testing, routinely dynoing. I mean, go watch him on a race weekend, how many bikes he is tuning and how he's watching and how he's back and forth on the line. And I mean, it is impressive what he can do. And then go kind of apparently shut it all off and go hit a tree and go win a round and go win another round and ultimately win a race and ultimately win a championship. And you're right. He was on this show early 2022 and said, the rest of the year is a point, and I'm making it. I will win this championship. He did.
I mean, we really saw it last year, coming out of last year, the fines that were thrown in his face for doing a burnout and, you know, kind of mimicking the pro stock class and the pro stock champion, Erica Enders, with drive that thing back. Obviously, she uses other words, but, you know, he kind of mimicked that there, and NHRA threw a fine at him, and I think that put a chip on his shoulder. And then just all the hate. Like, I mean, after Denver, what he did in Denver last year, you know, prove to any and everyone, like, man, this guy is the real deal. Like, it just being there, seeing that, just proved that he's the real deal. And then after Denver, like you said, he came out and he just had a chip on his shoulder for the rest of the countdown, and then Indy and everything following. So I mean, we look at it and we always judge and say, how could someone? But when you continually try and, you know, improve yourself and you do prove what you're saying, it's kind of hard for anyone to, you know, just say, oh, he's a naysayer, or, oh, you know, I mean, he could, and this is no shot at anyone, but he could be a lot more outspoken like his dad is. You know, Ricky, I mean, he's learned from one of the best, even though Ricky's in a car and he's on a bike. You know, the attitude and the atmosphere of being a racer, he learned it from his dad. And he's taken that and he's taken his own passion and made a name for himself. You know, they could easily call him, oh, that's just Ricky Smith's son. But it's not. You know, that's Matt Smith. So
Matt Smith, he's made his own way on two wheels, and he is truly one of the greatest of all time in the category with what he's been able to accomplish, and plenty of time to do that much more and cement himself as the greatest in the category. The only thing he really apparently didn't pick up from his dad is he never just drops at the drop of the hat, just cries. You know, his dad would just cry out of nowhere.
that is true. I mean, I don't know what it is about Ricky, but I mean, that guy's got tears like, I mean, it's like, you know, like a clap on light. I mean, he just, he goes, I mean, you know, he just goes and he goes. But I mean, like I said, a lot of,
he's a good dude. I'm glad he's going to be in PDRA this year. And I hope he's got many more tears of joy for his own self, even in 2023.
Yeah. So Lee, out of all these events that are coming up, I know you've got one on your list that I think you're going to be attending, but what event, from just looking into it, leading up to it, what event do you think has the most traction going into it right now? The biggest hype? Most traction, hype. What do you think?
Well, now
most traction or biggest hype?
Now be careful about hype, because hype is build up. Hype is this is what you can expect, but is it going to deliver? You know what I mean?
Okay.
All right. right.
I want you to keep let's talk hype before we get into
Okay. Oh,
traction.
hype.
Let's
Hype.
talk hype.
Yeah.
Let's talk
Yeah.
hype.
I
Yeah.
think right now the one with the most hype has to be the World Series of Pro Mod. It just has to be.
Ooh. 442 disagrees with you. He says Gator National.
Look, the Gator Nationals, crown jewel of the sport. It is going to kick off the season for the NHRA Camping World Series, and yes, it is big. But we know what we're going to get there. The
So
World
you say
Series
okay.
Pro
Hold on,
Mod.
wait. Before let me can I interject? So you're saying with the Gator Nationals, you have traction. It's compound. You know what's there. It's been sprayed. It's on the ground. It's laid down. You know what you're
It's
getting.
bona
Okay.
fide. Bona fide.
Okay. So in the words of the Water Boy, that's what you would call high quality H2O.
Right.
Okay. So let's revert back to hype and break the hype down for us.
Well, the Drag Illustrated team has done a phenomenal job, as they always do. They have made this race seem to be the biggest drag race in the world. When it's not, that's actually the U.S. Nationals. But they keep it out there in the forefront. They keep announcing people who are showing up. They keep announcing rivalry night. They keep announcing this class and that class. They keep my email is chock full with press releases on this sponsor and this sponsor and this sponsor connected with the World Series of Pro Mod. So you've got to hand it to the team. They know how to hype it up and build it up. And do I think they're going to deliver? Yeah, I think.
Wait. Okay. But when you say hype, right? And when you say they're ramping it up, but I mean, does it really need that much more ramping up? And this is only me. I'm playing devil's advocate here because you have CBS that's covering it. You have Flow that's covering it. I mean, you've got Richard Freeman. You've got Erica Enders. You've got Johnny. I'm gonna actually call him by his real name. Pacino instead of pistachio. But I mean Pacino. It's the Pacino. You have, you have Lyle Barnett. You would have had Stevie Fast Jackson. You've got Melanie Salemi. I mean, you've got John Monaco. You're gonna have the limo guy at large there. You got Straight Line Media there. Flow's gonna be there. I mean, do you really? Is that just hype? Because I mean, if you look back at what they did in Denver, and if you just want to say pro mods, what they did in Denver has proven it. Now they're adding that mountain motor, and now they're adding an import class. I mean, if you look at what they did the last couple of years, you have the door slammers, and that was hyped, and that's the biggest, the baddest, and everything. So I mean, is it really all hype because there is history of what has been done in the past?
They are going to deliver, but I do wonder how long they will deliver. Will this be a one-off big, huge event, or can they continue this momentum for many years to come? World Series of Pro Mod, this very name, we've seen it stop. We saw World Door Slammer Nationals come up, then it stopped. World Series of Pro Mod comes back. But I will say something that hasn't stopped in what,
No,
wait.
I know where you're getting, and
You know
we'll
where I'm
get
going?
there. We don't have the insider day, so we could yak it up a little bit.
Okay.
We're throwing a little remix into the plan.
Right.
So you're saying it stopped, right? The World Series of Pro Mod, the only reason why it stopped at that point was because NHRA, and again, I'm playing devil's advocate, I'm not picking sides, said, hey, wait a minute, hold on. You're throwing this event like this. We don't agree with it. We don't want you to do that. So took it away from Bandamere, right? So then now they went down to Orlando and had the World Door Slammer Nationals, right?
Right.
And this is the first year that they're not having it. So now they're moving it to Bradenton. They're moving it around to make it adjustable for more to come. So I mean, I think we have traction there. Now we're gonna get into a couple of other things because I don't disagree with you. Okay, some people are saying the Gator Nationals doesn't need, where is it? Gator Nationals don't need no hype. It can do its own. But we know we know what we're going to get with the Gators, and we've seen what you can get with the World Door Slammer now. I mean, the World Series of Pro Mod and the World Door Slammers. We've seen it. If you don't, I mean, rest in peace, Scotty. We've seen Scotty do it. We've seen the burnouts. We've seen the carnage up on the mountain, and then we took it to Orlando, and then Alex Laughlin took home the big jeweler, right? I mean, Erica Enders lost in pro stock. I mean, we've seen that. Greg Anderson went out. Okay, now something that you can say has the traction of longevity. Traction and longevity. 65th, March meet. Tons of people are going to be there. I mean that, but see,
60
and that's
plus
something,
nitro burners, biggest purse for that event ever.
Exactly, and so now we're looking at something
I
that
will
is
be where there is prestige over payout.
Why we must be on the same tune here. We must be beating we must be in a jazz band right now, and I'm sitting here beating the drums and you're playing the trumpet or the sax, because everything that I'm about to mention you're saying, and I like it, Lee. It's the mazzoli, it's the fettuccine, it's the good stuff today. It's been a while since it must be like half moon. I'm not gonna say a full moon, but it must be a half moon tonight because we're on the same page. But there you go. Now you're saying it's not about the what?
Payout.
It's about the what?
Prestige.
See, I like it. But now, okay, here's another one. And I know you're biased to this, so I'm gonna just throw this into you. Now, this one is the funny car chaos at the Motorplex. Is that hype? Or is that the traction?
Traction.
This is the
traction to growing prestige.
No, that's not the question.
Oh yeah,
you didn't answer the question, Lee.
That's what it
is.
is.
Lee. You see, I'm in an integration room. I'm in all white walls, nothing behind me.
Look,
right?
What Chris Graves is doing with the Funny Car Classic, and I said this well before I worked for him, by the way, because I was there at the first one before I worked for him. Look,
I like that you threw that in.
It is becoming, and I think it already is, but it is becoming more and more and more, and it will continue to be more and more so year after year, that it is successfully put out there as an event and completed, that if you are a funny car racer or you aspire to be a funny car racer, it's the race you got to be at. Sam, there's a lot of events across the country that they say Funny Car Nationals or they say Funny Car Classic. There's a lot. And I'm not knocking on any of those other events. I've been to some. I even announced one. Great events. But the Funny Car Nationals is Funny Car Chaos, Texas Motorplex, the Funny Car Chaos Classic.
Don't forget, guys, he's biased. He worked for them.
Right.
All right. Hey, we're going to keep rolling because this is some interaction here, and I like it. To you guys that are there, like, comment, subscribe. Keep rolling in those comments.
Hey, here we go. Oh, Drag Racing Central, MPK in Australia. Yeah, there's a lot of hype around that. And that's going to be a big deal there. I saw one of the cars, and it was like a classic Holden. Oh, it was a bad-looking ride as a door slammer. Man, it was good looking.
I really like the unboxing videos that they're posting right now, or uncrating videos, of them putting their cars in these shipping containers and now going, and you never really know what's going to happen, right? You don't know if it bounced around or moved, and now they're it's kind of an unboxing, like, oh shit, what's going to happen? I think that's really cool to see. We're going to keep rolling through the comments because I know you probably want to get off this topic, but I think I think this is our peak topic of the night. Is it about the prestige? Is it about the hype? Or is it about the traction? And I think this is something maybe that we should roll into the season this year with, which is this event more hype for the NHRA, or is it more traction for the NHRA? Right here, I think that the Route 66 has a lot of hype. Hopefully everyone who complained about it not being on the schedule will show up.
Amen.
There you go.
If you were one of those people on social media, or you blasted the NHRA or whoever about Chicagoland, Route 66 not having a race, you're going to have that place ought to be packed. And it traditionally was a place that routinely did not have packed crowds. I'm not saying bad crowds, but it's hard to find pictures of where it's packed. That place should be packed. And if it's not packed, it's going to be a downright shame. And if it's not packed, honestly, it speaks volumes to the people who've well, why don't we move this event elsewhere? You need to show up, fan. Show up.
Do you want to, and I'm going to make a bold prediction. Some people may like it, but honestly, I'm just going to make the prediction. Arizona is going to be more packed than Route 66, period.
Well, traditionally, I would say that's not hard. That's not even a bold prediction. Look, the last time I was there, the last 2 times, they've announced sold-out crowds. That place turns out. They love their drag racing. It is huge there.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, I think that will be roll through these last couple of comments. Drag Illustrated did a good job with their promotion. It makes you want to drive out. It makes me want to drive out there out of my way to go watch right before the Gator Nationals. And I think too, the timing of this race and how it's good for these drivers and these crews. They're already there. Then they can stay and boom right into Gator Nationals. I think that's the way to do it. And like I said, bias or not, I just, from being at, in Denver a few times, being in Orlando, now Bradenton, I mean, I think it's going to be a great event. And like we said, right after this, when the event's over, we can put it in a category and see if it's hype or is it prestige. My very own opinion from Drag Racing Central. While World Series of Pro Mod will be big on social media, I still don't think it will be as packed like how No Prep. I disagree. I disagree with you there, DRC. And that's nothing, negative. I just disagree with you. I think you're bringing some of those same characters and same people back. So, if they've already got a taste of it down there, and Bradenton's known for this kind of racing, door slammer racing. So, I really think that there's a lot of momentum going into this. And like you said, the hype, I think there's a lot of times where hype does bring the crowds, and there's nothing wrong with that. But will it deliver? Will you see 20 hours of track prep, or are you going to see cars going down? Are you going to stick to the schedule? What is the weather going to do? There's so much to play in that. But Lee, I think that's a great segment for the beginning of our shows every week. Was this race about the hype, or was it about the traction? And I think I agree with you. There. I mean, I think 65 years of having an event and on the West Coast where drag racing, is known, but it's not as big as the Midwest and the East Coast. 65 years is something. I mean, that's what's standing the good. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that's what's standing the good, bad, the ugly, and the indifferent. So, I mean, I'm going to give the traction, the most traction obviously goes to the March meet. And I think the biggest hype right now that I think we will say has traction again is the World Series. I mean, the World Series of Pro Mod. So, I mean,
right. And that's why on that weekend, with those 2 great races taking place, I will instead of going south, will fly west and attend my first ever March meet. Looking forward to it.
To the West Coast. Have some good corn asada, fries, have a good bacon, egg, and cheese burrito in the morning, eat a California burrito, get some, burritos. Rolled tacos.
I can't do it right. I've been doing good on keto. I'm down like 30 pounds, man. I can't let the wagon, run me over. Okay.
Even when Ron Capps gets on here, he's going to tell you, man, you got to eat some good Mexican food. I mean, if you don't, Lee, I'm going to put you into the most hype and no traction category.
Right. Hey, speaking of Ron Capps, we got him in the green room. Folks, all this is brought to you by Weldon High Performance. You want the best pumps in the industry? Yeah, they even make them for airplanes. Certainly work on your race car. Weldon High Performance Pumps. We're going to take a break. Right after the break, we're going to bring on Mr. Ron Capps, NHRA Funny Car Champion 2022, and looking forward again in 2023. Mr. Capps, man, welcome again to the show. Thank you for taking the time always and coming on and jacking it up with us and joining us on Competition Plus Power Hour. Yeah, March Meet, you going to be there? You got the time? You going to be hanging out? What's going to be going on with you? I know you love it.
Oh, man, you're finally going and I'm not going to be there. That sucks.
It's because Ron was supposed to be driving a Pro Mod at World Series of Pro Mod.
Yeah, that would have been cool too. No, I actually was going to March Meet, not to drive, just to go hang out. And I'm now going to the NASCAR Vegas race on that Saturday to promote our 4-wide NHRA race. So I'm going to NHRA and Chris Powell and all the people at Las Vegas Speedway. We're going to do some media at the Las Vegas NASCAR race. And I'm going to hop on a plane and fly down. And we're going to test at the official test session right there at Gainesville on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So yeah, man, I'm so bummed I'm going to miss the March Meet. It's going to be good. You're going to, Sammy, you're going to have a blast. Zingo's, you got to go to Zingo's to eat breakfast. KC Steakhouse. There's so many traditions, but Zingo's in the morning is iconic. And you'll walk in, you're going to see all these old pictures. You're going to see Wild Willie Borscht picture up on the wall, and it's a classic, old school cafe type of place. That's it's very, very cool, and it's all about the March Meet.
I'm looking forward to getting it in. It's been on my bucket list, and looking forward to marketing off and seeing some great action. That is in the 65th year, biggest purse of the event. So that's going to be certainly one to cover and get out there in the world for everybody to consume and enjoy. Hey, speaking of the NASCAR world, you were down at Daytona, got some Truck Series action in. Toyota had you and Steve Torrance out there and yacked it up with Amanda Busick, Jamie Howe. How was the World Center of Speed, Daytona International Speedway?
It was cool. Yeah, Toyota invited Steve Torrance and I. Antron was going to come down, and he had an event he had to go to. But, yeah, that was my first time. I've had since going back to Don Perdome days, I've had NASCAR teammates, sorts, different sponsors that we've had. And I've never gotten to the Daytona 500. And, man, what a race. What a place if you've never been. And I can't wait to go back next year. So it definitely hooked Steve and I both. We had a great time with Toyota. And we just got to cruise around, saw a bunch of people we hadn't seen. And again, Amanda and Jamie working TV, and Fox being, the natural, our TV partner with NHRA was great. But man, we just, Toyota does everything right, and they did it right again. I mean, they are 100% in for everything. And it was a blast to be their guests.
And so we've talked about it. We had JR on here last week, and just what Toyota continues to do. And I was talking to one of my friends that you actually signed hat for this year. A Napa guy went out to lunch, and he goes, it just seems like these Toyota guys are doing more and more and more. So what is it like for you seeing how much Toyota cares about you guys and seeing, with the drawbacks maybe from other OEM factories, and Toyota just seems like they're stepping up more and more and more. How does that feel for you?
Yeah, I knew it. I've had, going back years, my buddy Antron Brown, my teammate for a lot of years, was underneath the Toyota banner. And I had some teammates going back to early Napa days, actually, that were also on the Toyota side of things. So I had already seen and heard and watched, what they did in the background. Being friends with Del Worsham and Alexis and JR and Jono and all those guys, I sort of had an idea. but I really didn't. Believe me, it was one of the best things that ever happened to me. I mean, obviously starting the team and having Napa Auto Parts join me and that whole venture was great. What Napa has done and what I don't think our fans understand the support. And it boils down to what I talked about when I started the Ron Capps Motorsports team. It's just about the people, and it's been crazy to have the support. The fans don't even have any idea the track support we get. What they radio back to what's going on with the track surface is more information than we've ever gotten before. Guido and John Medlin last year, but the amount of information that they keep up to date, our crew chiefs on, the technology, we get photos and videos that we would have never got before of the car during a run, before a run, things that we can learn from. It's just I could go on. And it's funny because now I drive around anywhere I'm at. If I land somewhere and I'm in a rental car, it doesn't matter. I look around and I notice how many people are driving Toyotas on the road, and I never really noticed before. And it's just it boils down to, the product, and it's just great people behind the scenes, and it's helped us tremendously.
Certainly a good product, and they know how to market. I loved that commercial in the Daytona 500 where they're doing the drifting, and the guy driving is like, now for some real heat. I'm like, oh, they're about to show drag racing. And sure enough, J.R. Todd rolls in and
that's cool.
I'm like, yes, cool. That's perfect. And I love how, drag racing sadly doesn't always gets the respect that it should compared to many other motorsports. But Toyota seems to give it that respect. Like, it is extreme. They even show that in the commercials, like, oh, you ready for real heat? And they show, JR and a guy is, face being all reverberated by the exhaust fumes and things of that nature. So it's got to be good to get that from an organization.
Yeah, and they get it. They're 100% in. Slugger Labby, he's at almost every race, and he was running around the NASCAR race, the trucks and the Xfinity and the Cup cars, and just running rampant. He was in the wind tunnel working on the GR Super Body that the JR debuted, but we came on board with. So a lot of work behind the scenes within the parameters of NHRA. But I remember walking out. We won the championship in 21. I was walking away Sunday morning before we clinched that day, and from driver introductions, and I saw that GR Supra being towed up there when they debuted it, and I walked by going, my God, I haven't seen a funny car look that cool in a long time. So that was the first time I saw it, much like the fans. And so, yeah, it was just to be able to know that you show up in the morning and you've got 4 or 5 people that are these, running around doing different things at the racetrack the fans would never see or even know that they're doing, that are on our Toyota team and preparing us to win every day. And it's a great feeling to know that you have that. So yeah, I'm very, to be blessed is an understatement as far as knowing I got the best equipment.
So seeing it now, you were down doing some stuff with NASCAR, and I think we've all asked this question, but we think that drag racing has a lot of rigs and tow vehicles and everything like that. What is that atmosphere as all those haulers are rolling in and each person's got, 2 or 3 of them, for their NASCAR teams? Is it comparable like to what we really see on TV when they're leaving or coming into the arenas, or what is that actually like, taking that all in?
Yeah, not this weekend. I didn't see that, but I've seen that before. I've been to Bristol many times with different teammates I've had, and been in that whole leaving and, coming, and just watch that whole sort of, I guess, circus, if you will, which we're basically a circus as well. We pack up and go to the next town and do the same thing. And it's a different feel for what NHRA for sure, because you've got designated truck drivers in NASCAR, whereas obviously in NHRA, you've got girls and guys that work on these teams that then hop in at the end of a day and get in and drive these rigs and get them on down the road to the next place or wherever they got to get to that night within the driving parameters. So it's a different feel. It's such a different vibe, but being in Daytona was cool because everywhere we walked, we had fans or other racers yelling howdy or hey, yelling Steve or I's name. And it was very cool walking through the garage areas and having, whether it's team members on NASCAR teams or other drivers or crew chiefs or whoever it might be, really follow the NHRA. And that's a great feeling. It's really cool. And how many people knew who we were, knew that we won the championship and followed. That's a great feeling to walk around a place like Daytona, as big as it was, as many people as were around there, and have that, and especially a media center. I walked in, I did a video for Natalie, and I joked, but we're in the media center, which is like 20 times any NHRA media center. Obviously, it's Daytona. It's going to be larger than everywhere else. But I was like, man, this is, you look around and there, it was full of media people. There were probably 120 people in there. And, it just kind of takes it to that next level. And I mean, probably more than Formula One even. So it was a spectacle.
Well, certainly glad you got to enjoy that, Ron. And I hope you have been able to enjoy and celebrate being the 2022 champion. Congratulations once again. But you've done that as a driver. You did that now as driver owner. Was the celebration a little different, or did it end very quickly when you had to start signing checks again?
Well, the championship actually, and as good a season we had, helped me purchase a lot of our own equipment. So that was huge. Sunday morning, for sure you can say 3 of us drivers. You can add Cruz. I think mathematically Cruz was still in it. I think Sunday morning, but or whoever it was, somebody else was still in it mathematically. But none of us knew exactly what was going to happen at the end of the day, and it turned out to be a pretty crazy day. And I've enjoyed it, but I've enjoyed mostly because it's come up at different times, and where I just sort of not forget, but you just kind of, you forget what happened, how crazy it was, until somebody reminds you in an interview or something you're talking about. So it's been fun to relive it. But honestly, after the banquet, when you wake up the next morning, it's almost like a clean slate. It's better to win it for sure and know that you got that number 1 on the car next year. But I've been in that other side many, many, many times. I mean, I don't think there's anybody's finished second as close as I have in the past personally, excuse me, as many times, and come close and had to sit on that all season long. And I know Height's team, it's tough when you have a season like they did. We had a pretty darn good season too. I mean, to win as many races as we did and put ourselves in position, it's cool. And it really makes you proud. But everybody in the off season on every nitro team, and you can go down the list, I'm sure pro stock and alcohol cars as well, you look back on what cost you think, the championship. Why didn't you win it? And you start finding these little tiny little places. And when you win it, you look back and you're like, this is the spot. I think that was probably the spot that won us. Maybe you look back and there's 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 places that you can say that was a spot that might have won us the championship. And when it comes down to winning that close, and again, I've lost it many times by less than 10 points, you start looking and picking out little things here and there, either way. So it was just a great season for a lot of teams, especially the Heights and Hagens, and everybody battled down to the wire. And considering I've talked to you guys and many in the media of that was again probably the toughest funny car season, and we say this every year, that we've had. And for the fans, it's a win-win because you've got such tight racing. It's what pro stock was 10 years ago. I mean, you got to be on your game more than ever as a driver to hang on to the car, keep it in the center, and cut the lights and all that stuff. More than really you've ever had to before. And I'm sure this next year we're going to say the same thing.
Got one question here we want to ask you, coming from Scott Malpass. He says, countdown, good or bad, Ron?
It doesn't matter. It is what it is. I think the first year of the countdown, I was leading by a lot for once. I mean, I'd lost a championship many times by little. I've lost it by a lot, but I'd been there at that last day. And I think the first year, if I'm remembering correctly, it was we went into the countdown with the biggest lead I'd ever had, and it was erased. So I saw that side of it, and then I've been on every side of it since then. You look at height, as good a season they had last year. Look at the year he won it. I think they had it was controversial because they weren't in Brainerd, and there was this whole fight of him getting in the top 10. They got in and then went from 10th. I think it went 10th to first in like 2 races, almost a first in 1 race or something that one year, and just kicked everybody's butt in the countdown. So, and I was on losing end of that. So it doesn't matter whether I like it or not. It rejuvenates a lot of teams that had a tough season and struggled a little bit, and put them right back in it. And I'd been on that side, and vice versa. So, it's like every other sport. We got the playoffs, and you just we all know it. Every team knows it going into Gainesville. This is what's going to happen. Win as many races as you can, put yourself in position the best you can. Now we have the that challenge for Saturday's deal that is going to not only be for money, where you can get back at the people in the semifinals from the race before, but now those points can add up to go into your pocket once you start the countdown. So I think that's going to be pretty cool. So I think, old school people are going to hate the countdown. It doesn't matter to me.
Ron,
I loved it in November. I'll tell you that much.
Right. Yeah, I think depending on the year and how the outcome, it's like where people are gonna stand on it. But you kind of live or die by it. It worked out in your favor this year. It hasn't worked out in other years. You go out there, you got to compete either which way and try to win.
You can go back and you can look at every interview I've ever done a countdown. When I lost the countdown of the championship by 2 points or 4 points or 6 points or whatever, anytime, you never heard me say I hated the countdown. I was never one to do that. Some might, but it is what it is. So it's not like I blamed it. It ripped my heart out, but I didn't say that we could have won it without it. So it is what it is.
Ron, you have been very open over your ownership journey, that you relied on like Antron Brown and Don Schumacher, and you called and reached out and got so much help from so many people, Tim Wilkerson. And now you went through a whole year as an owner. You're about to roll into another year as owner. Changes. What are some things you're like, oh, I need to do this differently, and that didn't work quite like I thought it would, and I want to improve as a owner? Because, you got the driving thing down, so where can you improve on the ownership thing?
It's a battle every day. Honest to God. Even this morning, it's been challenging. I want to get better at focusing just on driving when I'm in the car. There were a few times that I think I lost races because my head was not 100%. And I heard Cruz before I went into ownership, and some other teams talked about it. And I kind of brushed it off a little bit, not even publicly, but I was like, yeah, I'm going to have to figure it out. But I think that got me a couple times, and I think I got by it. That was early in the season. So I got to definitely, that's a challenge. But every day for me, you got to remember, I didn't go to business school. So I'm smart enough to know that you put good people in place and you let them do their job. And so I've noticed that. I've worked for a couple great owners, obviously Don the Snake Perdome for a decade, and then Don Schumacher. So I've watched a lot and observed a lot over the years, and I've watched people, how they deal with sponsors, certain people, and I've taken that all in. So I just try to do that all the best I can. But it's a fight every day. I'm telling you guys, it is. But it's a fun fight. I love every bit of it. I love the phone calls I get. The Wilkerson and John Force calling me weekly, checking on me, Schumacher, and I go down the list. I sat down with Michael Andretti last off season, people like that are just an open book to whatever I needed. And that's cool throughout the years to have somebody reach out like that I didn't even have to call. I just had people checking on me. So it's funny how I've had people ask me and contact me kind of in the same boat I was. And I just tell them I can't give you a lot, just what I learned. But Antron was probably the biggest help, and still is at times. We still talk about things. because he's just a little ahead of me in different ways. But I've had the luxury of having Guido, who is very good at managing. No, he's not just a great crew chief, and he's not just good at picking wine out and good Italian food. He's very good at having and managing people around him. And that is a blessing. I've really been blessed in that sense, and it helped me a ton. You know, obviously my wife and everybody's jumped on board, but you guys, man, it is every day. Cause listen, I've talked to so many and more. I'm more intrigued. You talk like Roger Brogden you got coming on, right? We're very lucky that throughout the years in my position, I've gotten to hang out with some really cool, especially pro stock owners, but a lot of Top Fuel and Funny Car team owners, drivers that are business people away from the track. And it's always been fun to these sometimes billionaires, right? That are some of these team owners of these pro mod, pro stock teams. And to talk to them, drag racing is their outlet, right? It's just their getaway, and they're not necessarily depending on it. And so I remember Don Prudhomme, when I first started working for him, I knew his story. We all grew up, you know, Snake and Mongoose fans and all that, but I didn't realize that this is all he's done. Don Schumacher, a business guy, right? Don Prudhomme, that's all he ever did, and that's what he focused on. So I was lucky to be around that and watch the Snake and some really intimate moments. I mean, I've seen him get so angry at things and the way he approached different things and business-wise, and his wife, Lynn. So I've really taken all that in and tried to educate myself like anybody else that would start up a small business. And that's basically it. I'm just lucky that it's a race car team is a small business.
So we've talked about the business side. We've talked about your fun and, you know, the places you like to go. But this whole thing, and I've got to know because Lee and I joke about food all the time, but this whole the wings eating with you and Brian Loans, who started that, and like where does the fun, you know, end with you guys with this whole wing eating competition?
Well, that's been fun because it started out just as let's do something fun away from the track. Allison, who has been my publicist for a while at Schumacher's as well, but when I started this, I wanted to make sure that she stayed on as my publicist. Cassandra Powick, Mark Powick's daughter, who does our social media, and Paul Mecca, who's my GM, who has been with me a long time at DSR and at Napa. So this just started. I think we were having beers and talking about stuff one day, and they kind of came up with the idea of something cool to do for the fans away from the track. And it was their idea of coming up with Winging It with Ron. And let's figure out, because I've always, and I think I started off talking about fans always asking, what do I listen to before I get in the car? What's my favorite band? What's on my headset that day? You know, where do people hang out at each race? You get these questions from fans that are obscure questions, but they're good questions. Like, where do teams stay? Do they all stay at the same hotel? They all go out party at the same place? Do they eat dinner at the same place? So that kind of started, and that's what started Winging It with Ron. They came up with the whole thing, and let's do the best wing place at each stop. And at the end of the year, we'll pick the best one of the whole tour. But fans wanted to know, right? So we just kind of started it. And next thing you know, I've got guests on we're picking guests where fans are writing into whatever town we're coming in, and they're helping us pick the best wing spot in Gainesville or Bristol or wherever it might be. And it just became that fun thing. So we tried to shoot them on Thursday when we could have a beer and really do it right. And the stuff with Loans is great. And I've had just a blast with people. And wait till you guys hear what the same usual suspects, Allison and actually some people from Napa's new advertising agency came up with the idea at a summit they were at. And I can't blow it right now, but it's coming out soon. And we're going to do sort of the same thing, but they got a whole fun thing planned. And sometimes it's a pain because we don't do it on a Thursday and we get going sponsor stuff, and then we got to try to do it on a Friday. It's hard to do, especially when I try to drag another driver out with me. So it just turned into a lot of fun to look back, especially this off season. I look back at some of them and I was like, man, that was a blast. And you guys are going to enjoy this next one, I think. In fact, I think I'm going to have you guys as a guest somewhere, one of these places. And I know you're going to help. Both of you, I could see, are going to be good at helping me pick a place in this new thing we're doing.
I like
Lee,
it.
I think we need to take him to Vegas. Lee, I know the place, Lee. We might have to
yeah.
go on like a Tuesday. We might have to go on
Right.
a Tuesday,
Yeah.
Ron.
Yeah.
It's
for
not
sure.
that kind of place,
'Cause
Sam.
Oh,
No.
I know what you're
Like,
thinking. No. Well, there's a good
no.
idea. That would be a good idea.
Tipsy Tuesdays with Ron Caps.
yeah.
I can see it now.
Yeah. That's
It's
Roger
tacos.
Roger
No.
Brogden's place. He's the next guest.
Yeah. No. So Fogo de Chao, we went there. Some of my friends who recently got married that lived in Vegas invited me out to eat. And when I'm in town with Lee, I'm like, hey, Lee, come on, you're going with. So I brought Lee with, and we went to a Brazilian steakhouse. And it was the bottom bacon, like the cinnamon bacon or
Oh,
whatever
yeah.
they put on the bacon, Ron.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. But then
Oh,
the
yeah.
next, so we went there. What did we go? Thursday night, or was that Friday? That was Friday night,
Yeah.
right? So all day Saturday, Ron, I'm just meat sweats all day, and I'm just like, Lee, I can't do anything. Like, I don't want to do anything.
I
So
was fine.
yeah.
I was fine. Ron, whoever helps you out with the Ron Caps Motorsports side on social media, they need an award. They already won the top post of the year with that Timmy the Tiger post. And I want you to know, my mom works at a Publix, and we are on the hunt for a full-size Tony the Tiger cardboard cutout. And if I find that thing, I'm putting Tim's face on it. I'm bringing it to the Gators or whatever track I can, and I'm setting it up next to the trailer. I'm getting fans with Timmy the Tiger. So if I find it, we got to do that.
Yeah, well, that's Cassandra that does all of our team stuff, all the social media as far as Ron Caps Motorsports, and she does a great job with the videos. Natalie Torrance, Steve Torrance's wife, owns the agency, and she put together Cassandra, and that was another thing when I started the team. I knew how important that was. Good content and how much fun it is for fans to see really good stuff, and I love it as a fan. So that really was huge. So we got a lot of more really cool stuff that they've already got ideas about. So it'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, the Timmy the Tiger is pretty funny.
It was good. It was good. Hey, speaking of fun things and in marketing, last year we didn't see the Napa car, which are great marketing partners you've had for so many years, and they love motorsports and they know how to spin the motorsports angle. We didn't see it transition at all. Like there wasn't the Napa brakes car, the Napa filter car, and love seeing those different type of schemes. Any talk we might see some different schemes this year?
Yeah, I think so. We've talked about it. Besides the fact that me kind of coming in with this whole ownership thing and Napa jumping on board, they also had a lot of new people at Napa in that area, and which was great for me. And so this agency that we just talked about, the summit that they all went to there. I'm looking for some really cool things. They got great ideas and a lot of cool things. So, I hope to see more of that. Our fans, going back some of the old commercials and things that they did with using all, but look at the team that Napa has together. First of all, Brad Sweet, if you're a sprint car fan, he's 4 championships and it's a drive for 5 right now. Obviously Chase Elliott. You go down the list of the NASCAR trucks with Bill McAnally and just everything they do. It's just fun to get together with my Napa teammates because everybody's so good at what they do. And it's been a lot of fun over the years to have the teammates that I've had. And so trust me, they're thinking about it and they're hopefully on it.
Cool.
So
I loved the
you-
Napa brakes one. Napa brakes one was just, it was good.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So I got 2 questions for you here, Ron. First is we've been talking about a throwback scheme weekend in NHRA. Like NHRA on the schedule needs to have a throwback scheme. What race do you think a throwback scheme would fit the best at?
Well, I always think Indy's got to be. When I first started in Funny Car, Indy it still is. I mean, last year, I think Indy was really back the way Indy used to be with the, all the special races and just the hoopla and the race on Monday. You can't you can't sit down on Sunday and relax as if it's just qualifying, because that's right in the middle of trying to win $100,000 in that special race. So I think Indy it would always be a natural. I know that the Cup guys have done Darlington. That's a great question. Maybe a Bristol weekend or something like that. But I always thought Indy would be the place. That's where you debut a car. That's where people bring something out special. It's where you want something like that seen. I'm glad you brought that up, Sammy, because I've been I got some great ideas I would love to do. It's so hard nowadays with sponsors to implement it into what you have going on. But I think I've got great partners that they would let us. It would be fun to do. What's your pick for a race?
I think we agreed on Epping, right, Lee?
I like Epping just because it's the facility. It's like a throwback facility, and they already have the nostalgia flair there. They bring out so many nostalgia funny cars, and that's a fan base that I think honestly deserves it. Man, they show up and they're passionate about NHRA drag racing.
Maybe you guys got something there. I didn't think about that, but it's a good choice, and it does. It is a feel good kind of a throwback weekend. You're gonna get a lot of that at the March meet. That's what you're gonna walk away from the March meet is that times 100. Believe me. But yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe we need to work on that.
All right. See, now we got Ron on board. I think it's all go from here. Say,
Hashtag
Ron.
Throwback Epping.
Yeah. So my last question for you, Ron, is: do you think we can get a NASCAR guy to the biggest party in drag racing, aka the Napa race, aka my closest hometown race, the Zoo? Do you think that any of those NASCAR guys are ready to endure a week of the Zoo?
I don't know. I've had this conversation with a lot of my NASCAR teammates. They think they've got something that's comparable to that. And they've got Talladega, and you hear Daytona. I went through the motorhome lot there. No, the answer is no. It's still the number one spot when I get asked. And I was just asked the other day by somebody that was a friend of somebody, and they were asking me, what race should I go to? Every year somebody tells me, I said, you got to go to Brainerd, but hurry, because there's no way that Brainerd can keep having the Zoo the way it is. I always think, okay, next year there's no way they can allow all that craziness to happen. And it might get a little bit safer. I want to say safer. It might get a little bit less crazy year to year sometimes, but it's still, every time you go out there, you're like, man, this is unbelievable. And every time you bring somebody out new, we brought the new people from Napa last year, and the look on their faces, they're just jaw dropping. Their mouths are open and like, oh my God, it's like being on another planet. And then they come back, to reality the next morning, and you get to hear them tell somebody else about their first experience. So yeah, I don't think NASCAR guys would probably get a little scared. They'd disappear for a couple days.
Well, they can certainly get lost out there for sure. Well, Ron, look, 2023 and the funny car season is fast approaching. Pulling for you. Hope you have a great season. Thank you for your time on the show. We'll see you at March meet, but we'll see you at the Gators.
Yeah, and tell Roger Brogden, by the way, thank you. You guys, a lot of fans don't even know how much money that guy put up at Draw last year. I put a few things up, but I heard how much exactly, and that guy's got a big heart. He's an onion, man. Start picking at him. I'm going to watch the show, and there's a lot going on to Roger Brogden, man. I'd like to get to know him more. He's a great guy, but I do want to say thank you to what he did. It helped the Draw organization a ton, and he didn't want to even people to know it. So tell him thank you.
We will. Thank you, Ron.
Yeah, man. See you guys.
Thank you.
Always good to talk to Ron Capps here on the Competition Plus Power Hour. Sam, we've got the next mentioned guest, Roger Brogden, ready to go. So we're going to take a break. Mr. Brogden right after.
Classic car owners, make your headlights over twice as bright with Holley Retro Bright LED headlights. A plug-in replacement for those dim halogen seal beams, Retro Bright maintains that classic look and lasts 6 times longer. Stay safe and click the link below to learn more.
Competition Products, your source for hardcore engine parts for street, strip, and oval track. Our free catalog is packed with hundreds of product lines from the best-known manufacturers in the performance industry. Lowest prices guaranteed. Free shipping and handling on all orders over $149 in the continental U.S.
Need expert advice? Our knowledgeable staff is just a phone call away.
Competition Products. Race parts sold by racers since 1970.
Roger Brogden, welcome to the Competition Plus Power Hour once again. Hey, no flashing lights this time. Looks like you're at home.
Yeah, you called me at home this time. I've been testing for 3 days, and I canceled today with a supermodel to be here. So you guys are pretty.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Hey, look, Ron, dropping some inside knowledge before hopping off the show. A big donation to Draw. Draw's a great organization. You're doing a lot for drag racing. Where's this big old heart come from? Is it just because you're a good old Texan?
Well, I don't know. Honest to goodness, I've got my good traits from my grandmother and my bad traits from some people I don't want to mention. But Ron's not very good at keeping a secret. But yeah, the Draw is a hell of an organization, and I'll do everything I possibly can every year to support that organization. I love everybody there, and they do such great work for the NHRA family.
They do. So thank you for your support there. And man,
Okay.
We'll go full screen. Hang on.
Get that on there. Okay, good. I need lots of work.
There we go. Roof tech. Yeah. How's roofing going?
Oh, it's great. It's a great business. I've started my company in 1991, and since I opened, I've roofed over 60,000 homes. We are expanding actually right now from, we usually worked in the past in the Houston area within 100 miles of it, but now we've went out about 300 to 350 miles of Houston. So we stay pretty busy.
I bet you do, especially in Texas with the weather of how it changes so drastically and what folks have to deal with.
What really gets us going down here is most of my work's new construction in my residential side. And, we got a lot of people moving to Texas. It means a lot of people got to buy houses. So it's really good for everybody down here involved in the home building industry right now.
Well, it being good for everybody in the house building industry and in the roofing industry has certainly made it good for everyone in the drag racing industry, because you keep doing more and more for the sportsman racer. And there's a race coming up in Louisiana with some big money involved, from what I understand. What, next week?
Yes, sir. It starts this next Thursday. I think most people should be there Thursday, but the qualifying starts on Friday in Belrose, Louisiana. It's a great track run by some great owners, and of course, everybody knows what great people are in Louisiana. But we do have a lot of money. That's I want to get right to that. We're gonna last year our comp bonus fund paid out around $260,000, $270,000. This year to hit the $300,000 mark. We have our basic points program, a race that's based off of NHRA type point system, and the divisional races counts normal points, but our national meets, which this year is going to be Indy and Ennis, Texas, they count points and a half. And last year it went down to the final round of the last race for $100,000. So, and this year's going to be the same. Plus, we're also, I can't even talk tonight. We're also paying for each individual race this year, so that's a little bit extra money too. So, this should be really, really good.
Sam, you can't go wrong with that.
Well, there's
I think I might have to just
a lot of people
down
like
to the bayou.
And I can tell you, it's got to be exciting. Adam Hickey won it last year, and he had a hell of a run at the end. He won like at least two of the last races he was in to win in on the last round of the last race. So it's very, very exciting.
Well, the competition has been great for all of that money. And what has the word on the street been like back to you of the competitors for what has been put up? I'm sure it's appreciation, but can you give us some details and maybe even some exact conversations of what it's been like from the competitor back to you?
Or for the most part, I'd say, I don't know, at least 90% of the racers like it. A lot of them wish they had something like that going on in their division, I'm sure. But what I'm trying to do is just set a guideline or example of what's going on down here and how it can be done if somebody will take the initiative to start putting some things together. You know, I'm not a rich man. There's a lot of guys out there that can afford to do this for the division. And I make a very good living. Don't get me wrong. I'm not here to complain. But a lot of people need to step up and support this program, even if they, you know, not even doing it in their own division. They need to do it because, you know, I don't want this class to turn into a modified eliminator and all of a sudden we're all stuck off at Superstock somewhere. So I'm doing all I can, and I've got some great people helping me. The main two are Ashton and Bliss Hudson. They do all the internet stuff, all the stats. They talk to all the sponsors and make sure all the decals are ready. They hand out everything. They even check all the cars to make sure they're running the right decals. And if they're not, we'll sneak over there and put them on their damn car. You know, we're going to support our sponsors no matter what. Of course, Bobby Bennett has done us a great service of getting on board here and trying to let everybody know about the program. I appreciate you guys having me on. But I'm going to do everything I can to keep this idea growing, and hopefully we can spread it across the country in the next few years.
So with, you know, continuous growth, and like you said, your purses are getting bigger and you guys are continuing trying to grow, you know, outside of your normal reach and having Bobby Bennett a part of it. What more, I guess, you know, can we do, you know, from the likes and the shares and getting it out? You know, what more, I guess, are you guys looking for? Because
to let people know about it. It's a great program. It supports one of the greatest sportsman classes that's ever been created. You talk about creativity. If you can come up with a combination, and I told Susan Wade about the other day, heck, you can put a Subaru engine with a Hemi head on it in a dragster and race comp. I mean, if you can think of it, you can just about do it. It's people need to spend more time going by and visiting the comp guys. They are more than welcome to take you in their pit area and show them the combination and tell you how everything works. And it's a great class. Sportsman racing in general has always been my favorite. Competition Eliminator is my, I guess you'd say, cup of tea. I love that. Where else can you go and you can have a guy that runs 135 miles an hour race a guy that can run 200? You know, he's about to the 300-foot mark before you even take off to try to catch him. It's very exciting.
It is exciting class, unique for sure with all the different combinations involved. What about your own combinations, Mr. Brogdon? What are you going to have in the field? Is the station wagon back?
Station wagon is still under repair. You know, I'm sure most people seen the video when I hit the wall in Topeka, but then they cut the feed, but I actually bounced off of that wall, went across the other side of the track, hit that wire of the wall and caught on fire. So I felt like one of them funny car guys. You know, I couldn't get out of that damn thing fast enough. But the wagon's going to come back. Jerry Haas is, I think he's probably 90% done with it to get it rebuilt. But this year I'm running basically a Pro Stock Camaro with a Southwest Performance, which is Magaha family, 500-inch Pro Stock engine in it, carburetors. And that's where I've been at the track the last 3 days down there. We think we attempted like 22 runs in 3 days. I'm wore out.
It seems like, you know, that's kind of the going question too right now is, will you ever go back to Pro Stock?
I love the Pro Stock racing, guys, but another thing I said in the article, you know, I'm 62 years old, and for me to be spending all this money I spend is my own money. It don't come out of my company. I've got it all over my car, hoping to generate me some business, but yeah, it's my own personal money I put aside, and honestly, I'd say no. I don't see the value in it for me. It costs about $40,000 a weekend to do that, to do it right with a top-notch team and have a chance to win every time you turn the clutch pedal loose. And no, I'm gonna go with no on that for right now, because man, heck, my B altered automatic runs 200 miles an hour and I get to chase everybody, so it's a lot of fun. And I really like about it is this next weekend, let's say for some reason I decided I didn't want to go, I can stay home. It's not a big deal. I just built a brand new house down on the beach. So now I got racing pulling me one way, beach house pulling me another. But for the, I'm definitely going to race this year, see how my program goes. And if it continues, hopefully to catch on and get more and more support, I'll keep doing it. But if I don't start getting some help, after this year, I will have put at least $1 million of my own money in this program in the last 3 years or so. And, there's a lot of guys out there that should be helping me that or not. I ain't naming no names, but they know when I give them that evil look when I pass them in the staging lanes who I'm talking about.
Well, again, Roger, thank you for what you're doing for drag racing. And you and Mitch King will be hanging out on the beach down there in Galveston. Is that where the beach house is?
But we're not too far away. We can go down to Intercoastal. I can probably be there in 30 minutes.
Very good. Very good.
I know some guy that's a really good friend of mine, and it has something to do with that Napa stuff. They could probably throw some money my way. Wouldn't you think? And never miss it. I'm just, throwing ideas out.
I mean, if I recall correctly, he said he was going to be watching this, so maybe he just heard that. He thanked you for all the stuff that you did. So
If not,
who knows? We'll probably be getting a text or something.
good. I love that guy. He's a hell of a racer. I'm so proud of his accomplishments, and he's definitely a fan favorite. He's definitely my favorite. I promise you that.
So, Roger, what else? You mentioned, like Bobby's doing a great job, Competition Plus, being on the show, getting exposure. What else do you think you need with this program for fans to understand what is going on and what is on the line? So ultimately, maybe even though Nitro and going and watching guys work on the cars is great, they might stay in the stands and watch Comp Eliminator and learn more about the class, or show up to a divisional or regional. What do you need from the NHRA? What would you like to see from the media beyond even what has been?
It's kind of a touchy subject with me right this minute. I'd rather not get a lot into that right now. I just need more support, and I need people to do what they tell me they're going to do. Let's just leave it at that. We can talk about it all day long, handshakes and sign agreements. When it comes down to it, you got to do what you say you're going to do. It ain't a beer, is it?
In other words,
no, it's mineral water.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
I'm trying.
It's fine. Hey, if you got one, it's fine. This is a late night show of drag racing.
Yeah.
That's what this is all about. I mean, we promote.
We need more support from corporate America. That would be good. Look, guys, I only charge $10,000 for what I do, to be associate sponsor to this program. Every $10,000 somebody puts up, Roger Brogden will match $10,000. So if I get 30 guys to give me $10,000, that's $300,000. I'll write a check out of my own bank account for $300,000 to match it. And you don't even have to pay me till November. You can't do more than that for somebody. And for the life of me, I can't believe some people don't just step up, pull the trigger, and do it. There's so many people out there that $10,000 is an awful lot of money. But there's a whole bunch of them where it ain't that much to save a class, to get it the respect, the notification, the notoriety, and the ink and print and things like you guys are doing for us. Just to be a part of this program. We have to make sure that this program keeps growing. If it keeps growing, we'll have more and more exposure. More and more people will follow the class. Our program does so much that people don't even know. Ashton and Bliss, as I mentioned earlier, they're real good at Facebook, which I barely know how to turn it on. But they did this advertising deal within 50 miles of the track for this weekend. Again, we pay for that out of my money. Okay. And what's today? They started it, I think, Sunday, because usually started Saturday or Sunday is our plan this year. Just to be out there and whatever demographics you use. But heck, we have almost like 100,000 clicks already of people clicking on there and saying, oh man, look at this race that's coming up in Belle Rose this weekend. That's what we want them to think, and get them to come out there to the track. Come by the comp, guys. Everybody who hears this right now comes by my trailer this weekend, I give them a free t-shirt. I better put some more in there.
Hey, boom.
You can't beat that, though. You
We got-
can't. Someone that's willing to give just for you being there.
I'll do anything I can, this side of insanity to try to make this thing work. And we got to keep trying. I'm going to keep trying, but when I hit the $1 million mark, which is, like I said, it's going to be this year, I'm going to have to take a step back, see, reevaluate everything. And just right now, it turned into a very bad business decision. But if it catches on, it should, and people step up and support it, it'd be well worth the money to me.
So, Roger, out there right now in the comp eliminator world, a class known for every different type of combination, who do you think's got the strangest, farthest out there combination in competition?
That is a hard question. The guys with the Subarus and the Toyota, little toy like Bruno's combination, give it to him. He took him years to get it going fast, but I think he's got like 186 cubic inches, turbocharged, and all kinds of stuff. And hell, he runs 220 miles an hour when he turns it loose. I mean, it's everything. No, the combination that Clinton F, who runs down here, does with that A dragster with a Ford 500X Pro Stock engine in it. That thing's an 80 under, 85 under car. And I said, boy, if you put a Chevy in that thing, there's no telling how fast you go. But hopefully you don't do that for a while. But there's just so many combinations, combinations that run 3 little 2 barrels. Some of them that run, I don't know. It's just amazing to walk through there and then look at some of those things. And what really makes you think, if you're a little bit of an engine guy, or even if you ain't, because it looks really neat, is how did you come up with that? How does that even fit into a class? And if fans have those questions, ask them. They'll be glad to tell you and explain it to you. It's an amazing class. I can tell you that. It really is.
Well, Roger, look, we hope the class continues to grow and get more exposure, and fans are starting to walk down and check out the pits and check out these great cars, from your station wagon when it's back on the track, to Bruno's, to I like my buddy Frederick Keel out there with his Avenger, and there's Altereds, and I even think the guy with the weird aerodynamic dragsters in Comp Eliminator out there in Texas.
That's Clinton F.
There we go. Yes. I mean, just really tricked out piece that's like, oh, this could be like the future of Top Fuel, and we're seeing it in Comp Eliminator. You never know. It's kind of cool.
How many guys period that take a dragster to a wind tunnel? They spent like 4 days in a wind tunnel with that thing. And when I got to looking at it, I said, that's the weirdest thing I ever seen. But little did I know, he's like a second under car. So maybe I need to get me a weird dragster too.
Well, man,
a few things, guys. We got t-shirts at the track for people. Everybody need to follow us on Facebook. The comp bonus fund is the greatest thing ever happened to comp, if you ask me. And we are going to have a lot of videos from every divisional race on Competition Plus TV, on Bobby's YouTube channel. And there's so many things out there that we're going to be putting out there for people to look at. We've really stepped it up a lot from last year. And it's going to be an incredible year for Competition Eliminator.
Where exactly can people follow?
Just punch in Competition Division 4 Competition Eliminator Bonus Fund on Facebook, and they'll take you to 2 or 3 different sites.
All right.
Videos from every race. We're going to do live interviews with all the racers to talk about their whatever that they ended up discussing, the run or how they built their combination. It's going to be very, very informative, very interesting, and it's going to be. I just can't wait for the first race to get underway, and we can actually show the sponsors what all they're getting for the money. They'll probably, a few of them, feel guilty and write me a little extra money, and I'll go ahead and take it.
All right. Well, Roger, look, last question I got for you before we let you go is, so how often do you date supermodels? Because you said you had to get rid of one date tonight. So how often does that work out for you, man? What can we learn from you?
First one, and I had to move her to tomorrow night. So I'll let you know how. One thing, Joe, but before I go, in all seriousness, we lost a great racer last week, Frankie Aragona, a very good friend of mine, and I want to tell his family how sorry I am, and put all the comp guys in the world put out their condolences to him. You know, it's just a terrible loss, and we're all going to miss him so very much.
Yes, sir, Roger. Thank you for mentioning that, and keep up the good work, and look forward to seeing you at the track, man.
Good guys. Come by anytime. We can have a real beer. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger.
Man, Roger's doing some great things in drag racing. Good guys, step up and help the man out.
Like, I mean, put up your 10 grand or whatever you want to put up. He'll match it. And like you said, you don't have to pay him till November. Like, there you go.
I mean, you could work it off.
I mean, I just think he's in Louisiana. I might have to give him a phone call or go and see him. I got family out there, but we could have some real good discussions over boudin, or maybe we can do a crawfish. We could have a crawfish boil because some people up here where I live, Lee, they call it crayfish, and I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like, what is wrong? Like a crayfish?
They don't even have fish up there in South Dakota, right? I mean, North Dakota.
I'm in North Dakota. Yes, we do. We have walleye, which they really like, and
Trout,
northern pike.
In the
Yeah, some trout, a lot of perch.
Yeah.
But I'm a catfish guy, and people up here don't eat catfish. I'm like,
love
what's wrong with
catfish.
you?
It's got to be cornbread.
Like,
cornmeal breading though. Cornmeal.
Yes. No. I learned a new one, and it's from my Canadian friends. Butter.
Canada.
You fry it. Yeah, fry with butter. Well, butter and milk. That's all you need. Yeah,
hey,
I don't do it.
I love their bacon, so maybe they're onto something.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man, Lee. Great attitude, great guy to have in your class and promoting it. And it's a class that it's affordable for people to get into. So like he said, he continues to want this to grow, and that's what we need. It's people like that do it not for themselves and not for the fame. Go like Ron Capps. I mean, said it. He wanted to be unrecognized with what he did, and it's people like that are willing to give their shirt off or willing to do whatever it takes out of their own pocket and not just bank on other things. And I think it's to put it out there. If you said you're going to do it, or you think you can, or you may have the means to, and I hate to say it like this, but put up or shut up. Like, help out a class that needs the help and is willing to put their neck out on the line for it. So yeah.
And look, if you're watching, go beyond the nitro pit sometime and venture down beyond where you may have never gone and check out some really cool cars. They're out there. It fascinates me. Sometimes I will see people type in, not necessarily on this show, I see it other times, where they'll type it in NHRA, no hot rod association. And it's like, no, that's pretty far from the truth. If you look just a little bit beyond, there's a lot of hot rods still out there in some very cool pieces.
I'm just going to address the elephant in the room when it comes to that, Lee. It's because we've, as NHRA people, have promoted nitro cars so much. It's nitro, that after the nitro cars are off of the track, no one sticks around because they're like, oh, I got to go and smell the nitro. Oh, I got to go and get a piston or this or that. And I think we've done ourselves as media people in the NHRA, and hopefully I don't get blackballed for this, but we've done ourselves a disfavor with saying, go and do this, go and do that. Yeah, at the beginning of the day, go and do that. Maybe the first round or before the finals, but stick around and watch all these grassroots racers that are racing their tails off, because you're going to see some of the gnarliest stuff. I mean, have I seen the big booms of the nitro cars? Yes, I have. Have you seen it? But seeing like Julie Natas in Indy, the whole car blowing off, like, you don't see that often, and it's these smaller racers that don't get we're not giving them the attention, and I don't want to say it as attention, especially in the world that we live in today, but we've done ourselves a disfavor of just pushing nitro so hard and not these other classes. So I challenge anyone that's listening this year, if you are at an event, stick around and watch and support these people that are in the same position that you're in. They're leaving work on Thursday to drive, with their family or whatever to the track, and they're getting home late Sunday night, Monday morning, and waking up and going to work just like you and I are. So, I mean, we have to do better at supporting our sportsman classes.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why this year, every national event I go to, I plan on trying to catch some type of footage on Monday Morning Racer that is showing eliminations that is outside of those Camping World Series classes, whether it's mountain motor, pro mod, the alcohol classes, whatever it is, and showcase there. And look, right here, stick to Competition Plus TV, the YouTube side of competitionplus.com, because you're going to see Roger Brogden's program in effect there from the upcoming race in Louisiana. You're going to see pit report or peak pit notes from March meet and beyond. Competition Plus, well-rounded. Like, I really think Bobby Bennett, Les Mayhew, they've got some of the best coverage of like the Hemi Shootout at Indianapolis for the U.S. Nationals right here on Competition Plus. It's one of the best places to see that action and like B automatic and A automatic and, two cars. Yeah. Like, a V6 Mustang going against a V8 and all that kind of stuff, or a taxi cab, drag racing. Yeah. You can see it right here on Competition Plus.
So I put up DRC's comments, and I disagree. I don't think they need their own day, and I think they do. They do have. Usually they start earlier on Friday or maybe sometimes late Thursday. But I think that it is as media people and our job as fans to realize that some of these drivers, and I'm not saying all, but some of these drivers that are in professional categories came from this same very, these same very moments and being a sportsman racer and coming up through the ranks and being in a junior dragster and coming up through that. And it's just support. Like, we need to support the NHRA the same way we support the NFL, same way that we support the MLB, same way that we support basketball. You're watching these kids from college to when they get into the NBA. You're watching their preseason and their postseason and everything that they're doing. Your preseason racing is done before all of this. You know what I mean? You're testing. You're watching your nitro classes testing. Why aren't you watching your sportsmen? Alex Laughlin is a perfect example of someone who's come through the sportsman ranks. You look at the Mike Salinas' daughters coming up through it. You have to have respect, and if you don't want to start there, look at what Tony Stewart said. I mean, this guy, we mentioned it last week, that he could jump into a full-blown nitro team if he wanted to, but the respect for it, he says, you know what, I'm gonna run top alcohol before, I'm going to run this class right now, and who knows what's going to lead into it. So that's my opinion. That's all I got to say, Lee. I think we've done the prestige or the hype versus traction. I think that's something, maybe we can try for this 2023 race season, talk about that and see how long that goes, which races have the hype and which races have the traction. We've had two great guests on here. Thank you for everything that they've done for the sport, for us as media people. Thank you, Lee, the myth, the legend, the Monday Morning Racer, going out to the West Side, going out to my neck of the woods, where So yeah, man, I'm happy for you. I'm excited, and Lee, it's been a great show. Episode 116, but with that said, Lee, I ain't got nothing else to say, man. So I'm gonna let you shut it down. I'm Slim and Sam, and I'm putting it in the hands of the Monday Morning Racer.
Folks, that was Slam and Sam, co-host here with Competition Plus Power Hour. I just want to add I have been an advocate for some way, somehow, let's move up some of the sportsman racers in nitro pits areas. Or if they're doing the double, like they're running a professional class and a sportsman class, have their sportsman car underneath the tent of the professional car. Work that out some way, somehow. Like if Bruno's running pro stock, have his sportsman ride up there with the pro stocker. If Erica's doing a sportsman class, she has done that. Have the sportsman ride up there as well with the pro stocker. And there is exposure because, well, distance and people, well, they're not going to walk all that far sometimes. And maybe they'll see a cool car, one of those great combinations of Comp Eliminator or another sportsman class, and they'll become interested because there are still a lot of hot rods out there in the National Hot Rod Association. Has been a great show. Thank you, Ron Capps. Thank you, Roger Brogden. Thank you to our sponsors, Weldon High Performance, Competition Products, Holly Retro Bright, and also Peak. We thank you for supporting the Competition Plus Power Hour. Thank you, Bobby Bennett, for the platform. To each and every one of you watching, we'll be back here Tuesday night and talk drag racing once again. I'm looking forward to the March meet. We're all looking forward to drag racing getting full well underway here soon. Until next time, God bless and keep the pedal to the metal.
If you want to take your vehicle's performance to new heights, you got to give it P. Like our original equipment technology, antifreeze, and coolant. Our formulas match the vehicle manufacturer's technology requirements so that we have the perfect match for every vehicle. That's one reason why Peak is among the fastest growing brands of coolant in America. We work harder to earn the trust of people like you every day.